Amen. Thank you very much for leading us through. So we are going to have the guide class is going to do the presentations, and I'm going to hand over to Director Kahisho to lead us through and her class, as they are going to be an example of what we need to be in the future as well. So over to you, Director Kahisho. I've given you the host. I think you can give whomever you want presenter mode as it goes.
Okay, thank you, Director. At this point in time, we are gonna go through, as we've already mentioned, the Christian Citizenship honor, and the guide class will be giving the honor to you, and they will be looking at the South African citizenship. Our first presenter is going to be Temba. Temba, do you want me, will you be presenting something?
Yes, I'll be presenting.
Okay, I'm gonna okay, let's see, and I just made you a host, so okay, let's see something first. Yes, I just made you a host, so you should be able to present.
Okay, so I'll be presenting the first part of the citizenship honor. So we're going to be going through 5 questions, which are: describe the national flag, know how to display the national flag with 2 other flags in certain situations, demonstrate how to fold and salute your flag, mention when and how it should be displayed, explain meaning and reason for the national anthem and recite the words from memory, and give the rights and responsibilities as a citizen in your country. So before we start this off, I want to see if you guys know what citizenship means. Well, I mean, it's right there. But do you all know what it actually means? Okay, I'm guessing. Okay, I'll just continue. So, as you can see here, it says a citizen is a person that is part of a community. Um, so, citizenship is gained by meeting the requirements of a national, state, or local government. A nation grants certain rights and privileges to citizens. In return, citizens are supposed to follow the nation laws and defend it against the enemies. So here we have the Pathfinder flag. The Pathfinder flag is made from one of several materials: cotton bunting, rayon, or nylon. The flag is divided through the center, both vertically and horizontally, making 4 equal parts. The background colors are royal blue and white, eternally sewed together, with the upper left hand comma being royal blue. The Pathfinder emblem is centered in the heart of the background. The colors are descriptive of the purposes and ideas of pathfindering. White means purity, blue means loyalty, red reminds us of the shed blood of Christ or sacrifice, and gold means excellence. The symbols also have meanings. The shield is the protection of God, and the sword is his word, the Bible, and the triangle represents completeness. Completeness of the Godhead, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and completeness of the 3 parts of education: mental, physical, and spiritual. This is the Christian flag. The Christian flag is a white flag with a blue canton and a red cross in it. It was designed by Charles Overton in 1897 to represent Protestants of Old Dominion dominations. The cross symbolizes the crucifixion of Christ. The background. This is the Adventist youth flag. The background is red and white. The red symbolizing the blood of Christ and the white representing purity. In the center, there's a logo that says AY, which means Adventist C, and it has three angles, meaning the three angels, meaning the three angels message. The next is display of national flag and other flags. So when we do learning about flags is actually way more important than we think. They can represent quite a lot of things. So the first point is when the national flag is displayed vertically against the wall, the red bands should be at the red band should be to the left of the spectator with the hoist or the cord seam uppermost. When it is displayed horizontally, the hoist should be to the left of the spectators and the band uppermost. When the national flag is displayed next to or behind the speaker in a hall or other meeting places, for example, with him on stage, it must be placed on the speaker's right hand. When it is placed where else in the hall or meeting, it should be to the right of the audience as they face the speaker. When the national flag is displayed together with any other flags, it should be hoisted first and lowered last. The national flag of other countries, all the countries, should be approximately equal size and must be flown at an equal height. And the national flag of the Republic of South Africa must be on the right side of the building or platform. That is to say, on the left from the observer's point of view. Any other flags not being other national flags on separate flag staffs hold on. Okay, sorry. Any other flags not being other flags, not being other national flags on separate staffs, the national flag must be in the middle or on the left side from the observer's point of view, or at the highest point of the group. Any other flags not being other national flags on separate flag staffs, the national flag must be in the middle or on the left side from. Wait, no, I just repeated that. Sorry. The last point is any other flag on crossed staffs. The national flag must be on the spectator's left, and a staff must be in front of the staff or of the other flag. Another flag or flag in possession. The national flag must be in the marching right. That is to say, on the left side from the observer's point of view. If there's a row of flags, the national flag must be in the middle or on the left side from the observer's point or at the highest point of the group. The national flag should never be dipped as a sign of disrespect, respect to a dignitary. The Pathfinder flag, AY flag, and the Christian flag are dipped when the eyes right. Command is given, but the national flag should be held vertically. And here is a note of what dignitary means. So a dignitary is a person considered to be important because of high rank or office. How to fold and salute national flag. The flag protocol. The flag should be treated with respect and dignity. The flag must not touch the floor or the ground, be used as a tablecloth or draped in front of a platform, be used to cover a statue, plaque, cornerstone, and etc. at unveiling or similar ceremonies, or be used to start or finish any competition, race, or similar event. Flagstaff. Flagstaffs which are erected outside a building should be placed either on the roof or in front of the building in order to give the greatest possible prominence of the national flag. Flagstaffs used indoors must be placed placed prominently as possible in the entrance halls, conference conference rooms, and in certain offices, hoisting the national flag. Except on ceremonial occasions where the national flag should be hoisted unfurled, it should be at the specified hour, be hoisted, rolled up to break at the truck and at sunset, or at the appointed time. It should be lowered slowly. How to fold and salute continued. The size of the national flag for ordinary use, it should be 270 centimeters by 180 centimeters, or 180 centimeters by 120, according to the size of the building. For, for use during stormy weather, it should be 90 centimeters to 60 centimeters. General instructions. When the national flag is displayed vertically against a wall, the red band should be to the left of the spectator with the hoist or the cord seam uppermost. When it is displayed horizontally, the hoist should be to the left of the spectator and band uppermost. When the national flag is displayed next to or behind the speaker in a hall or other meeting place, for example, with him on a stage, it must be placed on the speaker's right hand. When it is placed elsewhere in the hall meeting, it should be to the right of the audience as they face the speaker. When the national flag is displayed together with any other flags, it should be hoisted first and lowered last. B. The national flag of other countries. All the flags should be approximately equal size and must be flown at equal height. And the national flag of the Republic of South Africa must be on the right side or building or platform, that is to say, the left side from the observer's point of view. Any other flags not being other national flags on separate staff, the national flag must be in the middle or to the middle or on the left side from the observer's point of view or at the highest point of the group. Any other flags on the same flagstaff must be at the top. Any other flag on cross staff, the national crossed staffs, the national flag must be to the spectator's left and its staff must be in front of the staff to the other flag. Any other flag or flags in procession, the national flag must be on the marching right, that is to say on the left side from the observer's point of view. If there is a row of flags, the national flag must be in the middle on the left side of the observer's view or point of view, or at the highest point of the group. So it's basically what I mentioned earlier on. So now we move on to explaining the reason and meaning for the national anthem and recite it. So as you can all see the national anthem, they all have wait, can you all see it? You can all see it properly, right? So I'm sure we all
Yes, we can.
I'm sure we all know the whole anthem, but do we all know the meaning? So on the left, you can see Nkosi Sikeleli Africa Melu Tagu Yisumpondo Wayo. It says, God bless Africa. Let its Africa horn be raised. Izwa imithanda yethu Nkosi Sikeleli thina wait, what? Tina Lusupwayo Wayo, which is listen to our prayers, Lord bless us. We're the family of it. And then Murena Buluke si Chawasaisu, Ufedi Swedi Tolima Twehenyo, Usibulukesu, Usibuluke si Chabasa Hesu, si Chabasa South Africa. And that is Lord bless our nation, stop wars and suffering, save our nation, the nation of South Africa and South Africa. And the same goes to the Afrikaans, which I'd actually like to explain it, but I want to also make time for the others. So here's the history behind the anthem of the South African national anthem. Since 1997, the South African national anthem has been a hybrid song combining New English lyrics with extracts from the hymn Nkosi Sikelel' Afrika, God Bless Africa, and the stem van Suid-Afrika, the call of South Africa. Nkosi Sikelel' Afrika was composed by a Methodist school teacher named Enoch Sontonga in 1897. It was first sung as a church hymn, but later became an act of political defiance against the apartheid government. The Stem van Suid-Afrika is a poem written by C.J. Langehoven in 1918 and was set to music by the Reverend Martinius Lawrence de Villiers in 1921. It was the national anthem until 1995. The lyrics employ the 5 most widely spoken of South Africa's 11 official languages. Xhosa, first stanza, first 2 lines. isiZulu, first stanza and last 2 lines. Sesotho, second stanza. Afrikaans, third stanza. And English, the final stanza. Now, as we move to our last point, is to give the responsibilities and rights of a citizen of your country. So, there's a lot of rights and responsibilities for a citizen in our country. There's actually something called the Bill of Rights and Responsibilities, which shows every rights and responsibilities a citizen has in a country. But that one is for South Africa. And I've chosen some. So the first point is everyone is equal before the law and has the right to equal protection and benefit of the law. The second point is everyone has the right to freedom of conscience, religion, thought, belief, and opinion. The third point is to an environment that is not harmful to their health or well-being. The fourth is treat people with reverence, respect, and dignity. The fifth, be kind, compassionate, and sensitive to every human being, including greeting them warmly and speaking to them courteously. And the last point, live a healthy life by exercising, eating correctly, by not smoking, abusing alcohol, or taking drugs, or indulging in irresponsible behavior that may result in my being infected or infecting others with communicable diseases such as HIV and AIDS. So I chose these 4 because these are the ones that I think were much easier to understand compared to the other ones that were there. But there's way more than this, and you can actually search it up on Google, the Bill of Rights and Responsibilities. And yeah, so that's the end of the end of my part. So I'll hand over.
That was very good, Themba.
Thank you very much, Themba. Oh, thank you very much, Themba. Yeah, so the honor has got about 13 requirements. So thank you, Themba, for covering the first 5. So now I will hand over to Josh to do the next 4 requirements. So I'm just gonna ask director to give Josh, oh yes. So you can just share with us what you prepared for us. Over to you, Josh. Thanks, Themba.
Amen.
Thank you. Hello, class. Hope you're having a great Sabbath. Good afternoon.
Amen.
So I'm just gonna present with you. Let me just share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay,
Lovely.
perfect.
Yes, just maybe put it on a
On full
on a
screen.
There we are.
yes.
There you go. Beautiful.
Okay, so for the homework that you might be given, you might have to do the same thing that I'm doing. You might have to interview a local official or an official of the country or something around there, but it could just be a local. And for my example that I'll be giving you, I have interviewed a policeman. So the first question that I asked him was whether he could describe a typical day at work. And the few things that he told me that what he does throughout the week changes from week to week, depending on how well he does. And then he's the head of the chief of his station will constantly give them new assignments. But basically, they could include assisting emergency scenes, responding to burglaries, monitoring roadways and stopping cars that are driving erratically or speeding. And for every incident that occurs, a police officer is required to file a report, which takes a lot of time. He says it probably can take around the rest of the day after doing it. Many late nights, he says. But and then it's just a few questions, and you can use my questions if this does appear in the homework. But and then the next question that I asked him was, what is the most difficult part of his job? And he told me the sad truth about that many police officers sadly struggle with mental or physical health issues after exposure to high stress and injury and disease, which is very sad to hear, but apparently they do get helped a lot, which is good. And then the next part would be, the next question that I asked him was, what was the most satisfying? And he gave me a very short answer. I liked it a lot, but it's just the feeling of helping people and saving lives, but it's very much the biggest thing about it. And he says that that's an amazing part of it. And then another question that I asked him was, who do they report to? Because I was just wondering whether they were, when I first heard about it, I thought they would have reported to maybe the mayors or the presidents, but apparently they report to the chief of their station. And if the chief of their station is not in, then they will report to the highest ranking officer within their station. And then they will report to the people above them, and it goes on and on. And then I asked how he got to his position, on whether he was elected or appointed or hired. And he says that the chief of police is appointed or elected, but most policemen are just selected from a bunch of candidates within the city's police department or an outside police department. So they're mostly just chosen by the chief, or they're just selected, most of them, after doing training in many of those. And then the next one, the most important one, which I think might also be important for your homework, was just how should young people prepare for a life of public service. And what he told me was you have to be very good at you have to have very good communication skills and leadership skills. Leadership skills being the most important. And you have to be trustworthy. People have to be able to trust you. If you're doing a public service, people must be able to trust you. And you have to be resilient, which means being able to recover quick from difficult conditions. It's a very important thing, very important. And then the next thing is that I'm going to be, what you might have to do in your next piece of homework, you might be asked to present or write an essay on a famous person from your country, so South Africa being my country. If you are from South Africa and you have to pick someone, I would recommend that you don't pick the same person that I have. I don't think that would be proper. But then the person that I chose is Christian Barnard. And now he was born on November 8th, 1922. He was born in Beaufort West in the Cape Province of the Union of South Africa. To study, he went to the University of Cape Town and the University of Minnesota, and he became a surgeon. And on Sunday, the 3rd of December, 1967, he became the first surgeon to perform a successful human-to-human heart transplant. And he says that on Sunday, he was just a normal surgeon, and by Monday, he was world known. Throughout the whole world, he was known, and his life changed basically overnight after doing this. And the person that he had helped, his name was Louis Washkansky, and he sadly, after the heart transplant, he only lived for 18 more days after he passed away, and after 18 more days after having the heart transplant take place. So sadly, he didn't live long afterwards, but he did live longer than what he was expected. And because of this, many people found out that it was possible. and it became longer and longer, but it's still not as long as we would think. And then the next section that I'll be going to is talking about famous quotes, and some of these might be important for your homework. So just keep in mind that you might have to remember some of these, but yeah, just take note of some of these as I say them. And some of the famous quotes that I'll be showing you come from many politicians from South Africa. Many people that did great things. So now the first one that I'll be giving is from Julius Malema, who is who's a leader of the party of the EFF. And he said, and one of these famous quotes was, "Even those who make mistakes, we must try to help them, but we can only help them if they are ready to be helped," which I think is a great way of showing people that people can't be helped unless they actually want people to help them. If they're not ready to be helped, it's almost impossible to help them. And then another person that I'll be showing is Miriam Makeba. And one of the famous things that she said was, "Age is getting to know all the ways the world turns, so that if you cannot turn the world the way you want, you can at least get out of the way so that you won't get run over." Just showing you that getting older, you eventually are prepared for what life throws at you, and you just learn the ways of the world, and you learn the things that happen, so you're better prepared when something does come up in your life. And then another person that I'll be doing is Desmond Tutu, who was a very great person in his lifetime. And one of the most amazing things that he said was, "Do a little bit of good where you are." It's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. It's showing you that no matter how little the good is, it's still good, and it can still change the world. It can still helping that one person in that little part can change their whole life. Just making them see that someone cares and just helping. It's very good. I love that quote from him. Then the last two quotes that I'll be doing come from Nelson Mandela, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows him. He was the first Black president of South Africa. He basically stopped apartheid, but he got a lot of help, of course. There's many people that helped him. And one of his first quote that I'll be reading was, "There can be no greater gift than that of giving one's time and energy to help others without expecting anything in return." It's another quote about helping people. When you help someone, you shouldn't always expect something in return. Maybe you should just help them in the fact that you just want to help them, and not expecting anything in return. Maybe it eventually will come back to help you. They will see that you once helped them, and then they will help you just because you helped them and you didn't ask for anything in return. It's a great quote. No, I really love that one. And then the second one that I'll be reading from is education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. He's expressing how important schooling is, and that we should all finish school. We should all be in school. No one should be leaving school, and all of us should be taking it very seriously, just so we can try and do a little bit of good in the world. And a few of those quotes might be important for your homework, so I'd just like to remind you just to try and remember a few of them, or try and see whether you can remember who quoted them and things like that. And then I think this is one of the last parts of my section, was how you can help your country and your church as a citizen. Now, a lot of these are actually very similar. Like in your church, you have to regularly showing up for services can really help your church. It's a very good thing to do. And then for country, it's also regularly showing up for your meetings. It's almost the same thing. And then in your church, you have to help with tithe and offering. And another thing that is sort of the same is that you would have to pay taxes fairly and just do it on time for your country. It helps your country. And then if in your church, if you want to help your church, volunteering when help is needed. I think that's the best part that you can help with, volunteering, asking when people need help. If you see that they need donations in this section, or you see that they need help in setting up a thing that they're doing, I would say volunteering would be the best way to help your church. And then in country, another way of helping your country is to vote when you are legally allowed. And hopefully you can vote for the right thing when you are legally allowed. So just hopefully you can do that. And then one of the very important ways that you can help your country, a very good way of helping, is that you buy products made in your country. Therefore, your country will make more money and things will cost less. More people will earn more, because And many products will say where they are made. Most if they'll say where they're made in China or made in Japan. So if you buy products that say made in South Africa, you'll be helping your country a lot with money that the country can make. And I'd like to thank you because that's the end of my little section. I think we must move on to someone else. I'd like to
That was
thank you for
beautiful.
letting me share.
Very nice. Very good.
Oh, thank you very much,
Amen.
John.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
And thank you. I love the presentation. It was very colorful. Wow, I didn't realize that you've got some sense of an economist in you. You make a good public servant. Yeah, you guys
Thank
are
you,
doing
thank you.
great so far. You guys are doing great so far. So right now we're gonna do the last portion of our 13 requirements, and we'll hand over to Mandla. Over to you, Mandla.
Hog.
Speak.
Good afternoon, church. I'm going to be continuing from where Temba and Josh left off. Just get my presentation ready.
Amen.
Okay, so I'm going to be doing requirement 10 to 13. So the first one is go through the steps of an individual acquiring citizenship in the country and learn how it is done. Just hold on.
Amen.
So in most cases, obtaining citizenship in South Africa is a process involving 3 steps. The 3 steps are temporary residence, permanent residence, and citizenship. So in temporary residence, the ways you can acquire citizenship, temporary residence, is by being married to a South African citizen, having a retirement visa with a guaranteed life income of 37,000 Rand a month, a general work visa, critical skills visa, an example of doctors, a business visa if you own a business. The next one is acquiring a permanent residence. Each temporary residence permit requires you to hold it for a certain period of time before applying for permanent residence. For example, if you hold a critical skills visa and you have worked for 5 years, and then you can apply for a permanent residence. Please keep in mind that no matter which visa you apply for, certain criteria must be met in order to be eligible for temporary permanent residency. Being able to meet these criteria gives the South African government a fair idea of your desirability as a South African citizen. Citizenship. You must have a permit for permanent residency in your pocket before you can apply for South African citizenship. You must have at least spent 5 years normally residing in South Africa at the time of your application. One of these years must be the year immediately before submitting your application for citizenship. Spouses have slightly different requirements. Other requirements that are asked of all applicants for South African citizenship are: you must be of good and sound character, which means you must not have any criminal records. You must be proficient in one of South Africa's 11 official language, which includes English. You must have adequate knowledge of the duties and responsibilities of a South African citizen. If you can prove all of these and you have stayed in South Africa for the required 5 years, then you're well on your way to becoming a South African citizen. The 11th one, know how to explain the process of government in your country. The Republic of South Africa is a parliamentary republic with 3-tier system of governments. Legislative. This includes Parliament, consisting of the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces. The National Assembly consists of 350 to 400 members. The National Council of Provinces has 90 delegates. The executive team includes the president, who is both head of state and head of government. It also includes the cabinet, which holds the president, the deputy president, and ministers. The second one is provincial executive councils, which includes the primer members and the executive council. Then we've got the judicial court, which consists of the constitutional court, the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court of Appeal and the High Court. These courts include the Magistrates Courts and Judicial Service Commission appoints judges. The president is elected by the parliament to serve a fixed term. A term is 5 years and you can only serve for 2 terms. The second term is you must be elected by the people when they hold elections. All bodies of South African government are subject to the rule of constitution, which is supreme law in South Africa. Some outcomes identified by government include improved quality of basic education, a long and healthy life for all South Africans, decent employment through inclusive economic growth, a skilled and capable workforce to support and inclusive growth path, an efficient, competitive, and responsive economic infrastructure network, vibrant, equitable, and sustainable rural communities with food security for all, a responsive and accountable, effective and efficient local government system, an efficient and effective and development-oriented public service, and an empowered, fair, and inclusive citizenship. Then we've got the 13th one. 12th one, sorry. Explain the meaning of the statement that Jesus made in Matthew 22, verse 21. Can I please get someone from the class to read for me?
I will read. Just Matthew 22, 15, 22, right?
Matthew 22, verse, yes.
Oh, okay. I'll read it. Okay. When the Pharisees went out and they planned to trap him in his words, they sent the disciples to him along with the Herodians. Teacher, they say, we know that you are a man of integrity and that you teach the way of God in accordance with the faith. You aren't swayed by others because you pay no attention to who they are. Tell us then, what is your opinion? Is it right to pay the imperial taxes of Caesar or not? But Jesus, knowing the evil intent, said, you hypocrites, why are you trying to trap me? Show me the coin used for paying the taxes. They brought him a denarius, and he asked them, whose image is this? And whose inscriptions? Serious, they say. Then he said to them, so give back to Caesar what is Caesar, to God what is God's. When they heard this, they were amazed. So they left him and went away. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Tristan. So
Amen.
when Jesus said, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, he was drawing a sharp distinction between 2 kingdoms. There's the kingdom of this world, and Caesar holds power over it. But there's another kingdom, not of this world, and Jesus is the king of that kingdom. Christians are part of both kingdoms, at least temporarily. Under Caesar, we have certain obligations that involve material things, paying tax. Under Christ, we have other obligations that include things eternal, which include paying tithe, preaching, giving our lives, etc. If Caesar demands money, give it to him, but make sure you also give God what he demands. The 13th, last and final one, the 13th one. Explain why laws are established in your country. So we have 4 main reasons why laws are established in our country. The harm principle. Laws are created under the harm principle and are written to protect people from being harmed by others. Laws against violent and property crime fall into this category. Without basic harm principle laws, a society ultimately degenerates into the rule of the strong and violent over the weak and non-violent. Harm principle laws are essential, and every government on earth has them. So the second one is the parental principle. In addition to laws intended to discourage people from harming each other, some laws written to prohibit self-harm, parental principle laws, include compulsory school attendance, laws for children, laws against neglect of children and vulnerable adults, and the laws banning the possession of certain drugs. Then we've got the morality principle. Some laws are based not strictly on harm or self-harm concerns, but also on promoting the personal morality. The fourth one, the status principle. The most dangerous laws are those intended to protect the government from harm or to increase its power for its own sake. Some statist principle laws are necessary. Laws against treason and espionage, for example, are essential to the stability of the government. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Wow, well done, Mandla. Wow, like right now, this feels so great, you guys. I just feel like really this is like the PhD level of the Pathfinder in club. So I think next time
Amen.
you guys will be giving lessons. I'm just gonna come to class and sit down, and you'll be interchanging. You know, this week it will be, you know, Temba giving the lesson for the week. Next time, Mandla. Next time, Josh. Next time, Stacy. I mean, all of you guys. Well done, guys. Yeah, and that is it, director, from the guide class. That was the citizenship honor, Christian citizenship honor. And thank you very much, guys. And yeah, over to you, director.